I'm Pete White, and I'm locked in.
I'm Stephen Mowry, and I'm locked in.
I'm Jordan Griffin, and I'm locked in.
Hey everybody, this is Island Fight CEO Dean Toole, and I am locked in.
I'm Michael Davis, and I'm locked in.
And we are live, Dave the Wave via satellite radio. My man, how are you doing?
Cuzzo, I am doing great. I had a great Christmas. I had a great New Year's. It's 2019. I haven't been locked in a year.
Ah, I see what you did there.
You see there? You got that?
I know, I did that joke on 3 different people and got the same result. They're like, come on, man.
You probably
come on,
won.
Man.
You won that round.
Yeah. No, but it feels so good to get locked in. It's better than anything. Better than any gift. I mean, there's some great gifts in there, don't get me wrong, but it's better than anything. I love getting locked in, and I appreciate everybody listening to this podcast. I'm Max Van Auken. That's David Van Auken. And man, oh man, not only is this podcast available on any podcast platform, we also are so thankful for our sponsors, Magna Loops, Fit Meals, you name it, guys. Make sure you check them out, magnaloops.com. Did you get any for Christmas, Dave?
I actually did. That's the funny thing. I didn't receive them because I have them already. I gave them to family. I gave them to an aunt and a cousin, and they both loved it. They kind of didn't know of it. And after I kind of talked to them about it and showed them what it could do, they both loved it. They use it all the time. It's just one of those things that you don't know that you need it until you have it, and then you use it all the time. So definitely check that out. Great commercial, Cuzzo. Magnaloops.com. Like them on Facebook.
Awesome. Okay, so there's NFL wild card, but before we jump into the NFL, there's so much NBA to talk about. Let's start off with Fear the Beard, James Harden. So he's on this recent stretch of putting up dynamic numbers, like averaging 40-plus points in this month, as well as the triple-double, the game winner over Golden State, and he's really making a case, and he's come out and said he needs this MVP again. In your eyes, how do you judge his recent streak? Is it significant to you, and is he your MVP?
Marvelous. That's like the word that just jumps at me when I'm watching James Harden play, and I did. I watched the whole game. It's a West Coast game. We live in Florida, so it's hard to watch West Coast basketball unless LeBron and the Lakers are playing, and they weren't. So I was like, I'm not going to make it, and I couldn't take my eyes off the game. Rockets, Warriors. To me, I think that will be the Western Conference Finals. We can get into that. We talked to Rashad Phillips about that 3 weeks ago, and I was like, guys, don't give up on the Rockets just yet. Just give them a little bit more time. And, right now I look like a boy genius on that. We'll see what happens. But James Harden, back to James Harden. I love how he's playing. I wish he wouldn't have said that I need the MVP. I wish instead of that he would say, I don't care about the MVP. I need a championship ring, because that's what the man needs. Another MVP, cool. That's awesome. Another all-star game, another leading league of the scorer. Tracy McGrady has done that a couple times. Cool. But I wish he would say, I need a championship ring. So that's just my first gut, thing out there. But you asked me, you think James Harden is the MVP? Yeah, I really do. I do. Kind of had a couple guys. Let's just throw up your man real quick, Max. LeBron James, the greatest player ever to play. We can talk about that. What LeBron does better than anyone, he increases wins when he goes to a new team. And he will increase the Lakers' wins a lot, especially before this injury. The Lakers were a 2, 3, 4 seed in the West, and now they're falling back because LeBron is so valuable. So he is the guy that James Harden needs to beat. But LeBron needs to be healthy and get back on the court to fight Harden for this MVP. But players like Giannis, Steph Curry, they're great players. I just don't see the Warriors were great last year. So I don't see like a big jump. And then the only other guy, let's talk about this guy too, and I'll let you this, Max. Kawhi Leonard. And quick, we brought him up twice in 10 minutes. Rashad Phillips, he goes, Kawhi Leonard's the MVP. I disagree. Max, were the Toronto Raptors the number 1 seed in the East last year?
Yes.
They were, right?
Yeah.
So he's right now, to be blunt, the Bucks are the number 1 seed right now. Raptors are 2. So, they can go back and forth. My point is, I don't see a great increase in wins for Toronto. They're kind of the same team. Leonard is definitely better than DeRozan. Don't get me wrong. And Leonard, two-way player, he's valuable, and he is in the discussion. But he's not the MVP. What James Harden is doing with not the distraction, with Gordon and Chris Paul hurt. Like, these guys are just not playing. So now he has a lesser team. Trevor Ariza signed in the offseason. So this Rocket team is not what the Rocket team of last year. And them on this winning streak, on this run, just being the best player in the universe for 3 weeks. James Harden's my MVP right now, Max. I'm sorry if I went a little long there. Take it away. That could have been a lot.
No, that's fine. I love hearing your opinion. Okay, so there's two ways I judge this. For one, LeBron James is the MVP in my book. Surprise, surprise. When he leaves a team, they're the worst team in the East. He goes to a team that hasn't made the playoffs in years, and they're arguably the second or third best team in the West. So in my opinion, LeBron James is the most valuable player. Who's having the best season? James Harden. But who's the most valuable? LeBron James. Now, James Harden and Russell Westbrook have a tendency of going on these crazy runs where they put up triple-doubles, they put up numbers, and to me, that's amazing. It should get applauded and credited for, but it doesn't still make you the most valuable. And not to mention Russell Westbrook's having a terrible shooting year, but we're not even going to talk about that one.
Triple-double.
Yeah. Anyway, anyway, but back to your point. There's one thing I've heard. The one criticism is, well, it's a 3-point league. That's why he's putting up these type of numbers. This is how the league works now. Okay, I just want to take that for one moment because I was about to ridicule James Harden, but now I find myself in the same position as you are, and I'm defending him because now it's like, okay, yeah, it's a 3-point league. Yeah, that's how the league is now, but nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is putting up these numbers, so it's not like he's not winning. It's not like he's putting up these numbers and they're losing 11 out of 12.
Great point.
He's putting these numbers and they're winning, so that is valuable. It's different when you're not winning, but if you are winning and it's resulting in a win streak and you're clearly being valuable and hitting game winners, I'm going to applaud you for it. And I know people, I'm usually not the guy to look at stats, but when you have historic stats, not only does it get your attention, but what I'm really just upset about, Dave, is because people are so obsessed with the 3-point, they just assume everybody can do it. And this is not the case. The way he does it is special, and I don't think he gets the credit he deserves because there's that stereotype in the league that everybody does it, and nobody does what he's doing right now. Nobody. Yeah, Steph Curry could shoot it better, but he's not putting up James Harden's numbers.
Absolutely, man. Remember in the offseason, the Rockets were rumored to acquire Jimmy Butler. Mm-hmm. If they would have added Jimmy Butler and Chris Paul would have stayed healthy and Eric Gordon would have came off the bench and been the sixth man of the year and Capella kept on ascending to Clint Capella playing defense, dunking the ball, and the Rockets were having, the 3, 4, or 5 seed in the West, kind of what they're at, James Harden, to me would not be the MVP because they were the 1 seed last year and, those guys were healthy and they would have an addition of like a Jimmy Butler. But they lost Trevor Ariza. They really didn't gain anybody. They tried the Carmelo Anthony project. Did not work. Didn't see that coming, right? And the injuries of Chris Paul and Eric Gordon, that could have been traumatic to the team. That could have derailed the Houston Rockets 2018-2019 season. But it hasn't because James Harden put them on his back.
And what's weird about that, not only did it not derail them, they were having struggles early in the season. So it's almost like their departure has made them better when James Harden is just himself. So it's not like they had crazy success before with them. Of course, you want them on your team come playoff time. Of course, you want Chris Paul and Eric Gordon healthy. But we were all saying the debate was, are the Rockets really not that good this year? And so for them to not only get hurt and get worse, they got even better than what they were when they were healthy. So back to your point, that's a great point. James Harden, in my mind, should be applauded for what he's doing. Again, LeBron's my MVP, but if I had to go number 2, I think James Harden would have to be my second just because, like you hit on it, Chris Paul's hurt, Eric Gordon's hurt, historic numbers, 11 out of 12. And we're saying it again, James Harden may be the MVP again this time. And what's interesting, Dave, not only would this be his second MVP, you could argue he should have won it the last 4 years based on his numbers.
Crazy. It really is crazy. That's funny because I flip-flop. I'm Harden 1, LeBron 2. LeBron's real close. He needs to get back.
Right.
He can come back. And then if the Lakers win the 2 or the 3 seed and LeBron's numbers are LeBron's numbers, I think the Rockets have a better surrounding team, of course, when Paul and Gordon are healthy. So I think LeBron will increase the Lakers wins more than Houston. So I would maybe edge out LeBron. But right now, January 5th, 2019, James Harden's my MVP. And you had a great point. Now, let me piggyback on something you said. I'm 34. Max, you're 20?
Yes, sir. 20 years old.
20 years old. Millennial. I'm 34. I'm not this old school guy. I am so tired of everyone. Oh, quarterbacks have it so easy now. Their stats are amazing. They can throw to anyone and anywhere. They can't get hit. All these NBA players, you can't hand check them. You can shoot threes. Everyone just shoots threes now. Guys, Patrick Mahomes has to throw the ball to an open guy. James Harden has to hit a jump shot. People are still playing defense. People are just haters of these new players. These players have the greatest technology. You think the defense would be even better because they know what they're going to do before the offense knows what they're going to do. All these players, James Harden is scoring on people like Draymond Green and Kevin Durant that are 6'11", long, athletic. Giannis. Back in the 80s, there wasn't a player named Giannis, the Greek freak. It didn't exist. I just think people hate on these new school, unbelievable talents. I think James Harden would be an all-time great, an MVP in any decade, any era of basketball. People need to not hate, just participate, whatever the phrase goes. Just applaud these unbelievable athletes doing all elite skill, top-end level.
I do want to just piggyback one more time on this because you brought up a good point. So are we not supposed to applaud them because that's how the league is? So are we not supposed to applaud the great rebounders back then, even though it was a rebounding-centric type of league? You needed a big man. So do Dennis Rodman's rebounds and his records not count? Do Patrick Ewing's records not count? Wilt Chamberlain's because that's how the style of play was back then? No, they do count because that's how the league was. Like, you could do that for anything. Oh, do Marino's records not count? Like, it just, every league is going to be, like, the league will always evolve. It will always evolve. And that's why it's hard to compare the greats because the league is different, but you can't just discount what they're doing. And you made a really funny joke, but it was a fact. There was no player named Giannis back in the league. But that was kind of my transition. Before we get to Kawhi Leonard, is he not considered in the MVP now? Because, yeah, the Bucks are up there, like you said, with Toronto. But on top of that, if you took Giannis out of this team, what would the Bucks be?
Wow.
What would they be?
I'm still stuck on you saying the word evolve. I'm thinking of like Jurassic Park when like people are like, oh, the apes will evolve. Life will find a way. I'm sorry. I'm on Jurassic Park right now.
As long as Chris Pratt movies, it's good.
All right. So Greek Freak is definitely up there. He's in my top 5. I have Harden and LeBron 1, 2, and my 3, 4, 5 is in no order. But it's Steph Curry, Giannis, and Kawhi Leonard. So he's in my top 5. They are the 1 seed in the East. And he's having a great season. I just don't have it. He's having a great season, which is applauded, which, I'm a Knicks fan. If the Knicks could get Giannis, I would trade the whole franchise for him. And he's still uber young in this league. 4 years from now, we're Ben Simmons guys. Greek Freak might be the best player in the world, no doubt about it, 4 years from now. But he's just not having historic numbers. Yeah. And they're first in the East, but barely. The record's good. But if the Bucks would win 68, 70 games, and if you're not historic numbers, you would be like, okay, he's got historic wins for the Bucks. So he's just not doing either. The Bucks have really good wins. He's having a really good statistical season, but just not all time, all great in either one. So that's why he slides probably 4th in my book. Curry 3, Kawhi 5.
Sounds good. So now you wanted to jump to Kawhi Leonard. And before I let you just kind of go on your tangent with Kawhi Leonard, can I just say I'm so over fans booing, like over their stars leaving. It's like, okay, we talk about what the league has evolved to now. Every player moves. So you're a fan base. You certainly welcome an all-star. You certainly welcome a superstar. But when they leave, you're supposed to be heartbroken like you didn't know that happens in the league. I just don't understand. Why would you boo your finals MVP? If it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have beaten LeBron James in the Heat. What is your take on the whole booing of him?
It's awful. If the only way you can boo a player, this is what I think. Steve Francis.
Yeah.
He got drafted for the Vancouver Grizzlies 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And he said, nope, I won't play there. Before the season started, they traded him to Houston. That's when you can boo a player. He didn't play for you. He did nothing positive for you. He wasted a draft pick for you. It was a bad pick for the Grizzlies, right?
Right.
Kawhi Leonard he had championships with the Spurs. He was an NBA Finals MVP. I'm a Knicks fan. I would like a first round series MVP. Like what Kawhi Leonard have done for the Spurs should be applauded. The man won the move. I heard this dumb stat. It was like 6 months ago when they didn't like player mobility in the NBA. It's some kind of stat of like 68 or 67% of the people in the stands have moved. So people that are booing San Antonio, like, oh, I'm a Spurs fan. That guy's from Milwaukee, or he's from Daytona Beach, Florida, and he's living in San Antonio now booing Kawhi. It's like, wait, you move. Why can't Kawhi Leonard move? It drives me crazy, cuzzo. It takes more out of someone to boo than to cheer.
I agree. Now, could you imagine going back to say you just have a better opportunity, so you leave the business you're at now, you go to a better opportunity, and you go back to the business just to visit that business and check up on everyone, how they're doing, and they just boo you as soon as you walk in the door. Would that not seem humane? Like, that's ridiculous.
People wouldn't take, or even like heckling. I never get heckled. It's like, oh, you're an awful person. You're awful. This guy is a father. He's a husband. He's a great person, probably on the court. And then, not even that. So you're yelling at Kawhi, which is just crazy. But 2 rows next to you, there's a 7-year-old girl who's never been to a San Antonio Spurs game, and you're saying vulgar words. That's the most dumbest heckler. Mr. Heckler guy is locked out. All right, Max, are you happy? I'm getting worked up. I'm locking someone out. Mr. Heckler at an NBA game guy, he's locked out.
I don't even like the word heckler. Like, it's not even amusing.
It's a nasty word. It's vindictive.
So on that note, do you have a Kawhi Leonard point that you wanted the world to know?
Yeah, no, it was just more about that MVP talk. Rashad Phillips is just all in on Kawhi being the MVP this year. And he's having a really good season. They're tied or second in the East. I just think I said it. If he went to the Pacers, who was like the 5 seed last year, and then added wins to their team to the East and made them the 1 spot, I'd be like, yeah, he might be MVP because he took Victor's spot and he's making him a 1 seed. Toronto with DeMar DeRozan and the same 8 players that are playing now were the 1 seed last year. So nothing's changed. You can actually, if you want to just be brutally honest about it, they're the 2 seed. The team has degressed. Is that
digressed? Yeah, digressed.
Yeah, digressed. So, and it's when you're kind of just critical on someone. I love the man. Like, he's a great player. He's a free agent. He's going to be a Los Angeles Clipper next year. I wish he went to New York. I would love him on the Knicks. But I just got to be, to me, fair. And my opinion is he is not the NBA MVP this year. He's just not. He hasn't added more wins, and his numbers are really good. They're just not all time. They're not James Harden numbers. They're not LeBron James numbers. We haven't said his name the whole podcast, or at least I haven't. They're not even Russell Westbrook triple-double numbers.
I know. I tried my best not to get on Russell Westbrook. Like I said, even though he's shooting the worst he's ever shot in his career, and even though he's close to averaging a triple-double, he's not even in the MVP discussion. So, but my point with Kawhi, I agree with you. But the one thing I'll say, a little caveat here, is even though it doesn't really correlate, excuse me, in the regular season wins, couldn't you say it will correlate in the playoffs? Because a lot of people think with the addition of Kawhi Leonard, it'll be enough to surpass the Boston Celtics and submerge them to the Celtics, now, to the Warriors in the finals. So now if you have the Warriors and the Raptors in the finals, he brought them to the finals. Like, I don't think his addition will necessarily correlate in the regular season. I think it will correlate in the playoffs.
Well, Cuzzo, I 100% agree with you. But the NBA MVP is a regular season award.
Touche.
So maybe, you know what I'm saying, that he could do that in the postseason, and then he's worth it. He's worth the trade. They're going for it. I'm an aggressive guy. I will be an aggressive GM. The trade that the Raptors did was a good trade. They got the better player. Kawhi's a great player. You never know. He is definitely rumored to leave. He's rumored to become a Clipper. but they're going for it. So they have a better chance to win the East. They have a better chance to win the NBA Finals this year. I 100% agree. But the NBA MVP award, no, not a chance in hell.
Okay, well, let's stick in the East, Dave. I was high on them, and then I'm like, you know what? I kind of got brought down to earth, and I'm like, I think the Celtics are deeper. I like Kawhi Leonard and the Raptors, not as less drama. Jimmy Butler and the 76ers, there's report that he's called out Coach Brown, that he's kind of upset with his role. This was a big three of him, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid. And this was type of the thing that you warned me about. And you said, guys, he has an ego a little bit. He's proven, I wouldn't quote him as a knucklehead yet, but with this track history, and if it keeps going, you can. But at this point, it doesn't look good, especially after leaving the Timberwolves and then leaving the Bulls. What's going on with Jimmy Butler? Can this get repaired, or do you think this is something that's just going to keep getting worse and worse?
Cuzzo, I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. Kim Kardashian, Antonio Brown, and Jimmy Butler have something in common. They're all drama queens.
Wow.
You don't want them on your roster, and especially Philadelphia. A young roster, budding all-stars, budding phenoms. Like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid are all-timers. One of the last players you want on that roster is Jimmy Butler. Get him out of there. Max, I tried to warn you, but I do give you credit. You did cool down. You were all in. And it seemed like day by day, by week, you're like, I don't see it. You're probably right. So I do give you credit for bowing down and cooling off that. But yeah, he's just a cancer to a roster. He just really is.
Okay, well, I'm a Lakers fan. You're a Knicks guy. If the Knicks had an opportunity, because there's been rumors out there that Kyrie Irving's interested in going to New York and Jimmy Butler's interested in going with Kyrie Irving. Let's just say in a hypothetical world, they don't go to the Brooklyn Nets. They choose to go to your New York Knicks. You're telling me you wouldn't want to accept Jimmy Butler?
Correct. I'm 100% honest. I'm open right now about it. I would love Kyrie. I would love Durant. Of course, Durant's my all-time. That's the number one guy I would get. Also, I would just play the long game. I really would. The Knicks right now are one game off from being the worst record in the league. I think they're really tanking for Zion Williamson, who I think is a game changer. I think he is they call him a franchise quarterback in the NFL, you know?
Right.
And Kevin Knox was just rookie of the month in the Eastern Conference over Trae Young. Kevin Knox is rising. I don't know if they don't watch the Knicks, this name might not mean anything to you. Emmanuel Mudiay.
Yep.
This kid's balling out. He was drafted for Denver from overseas. He was super young. He got traded. He was injured at the beginning of the year. He's been on fire. He's like an 18-7 guy. So if you're telling me 18-7 Mudiay, who's just getting better and better, Knox is on the rise, we're going to add Porzingis to the roster mid-season, or maybe let's just keep him out so we can tank. Imagine if we do get a great draft pick. And then Zion would be gold. Durant would be gold. But let's just be, give me silver. Give me Cam Reddish, and then give me a free agent like Kyrie. So I'm not getting the best one. It changes the Knicks around like that, and you don't want a cancer on a young team like Porzingis, Knox, and Mudiay. I don't take Butler, Max. I won't do it. Wow.
I don't disagree with you. That's the crazy thing. I'm sure a whole bunch of people are going to be throwing their phone when they hear this, but I don't disagree with you. You and I think very alike, and I saw Emmanuel Mudiay play live when I went to the Orlando Magic game, and I was impressed. He controls the game. He's a great ball handler, pretty good defender. He can finish at the rim. So I like your young core. The only thing I would say, I've always criticized your owner, James Dolan. Whenever you have a bad front office, it's hard to have a good roster. Yeah. But of course, you have a good GM, and I like Fizdale, so it's almost like making up for it. So there is hope. The only thing I would say is the Knicks have been waiting for a very, very long time. That's the only thing I would say. I love your faith, and you're very optimistic with it, and rightly so. I would just make sure you guys don't have the best history of rebuilding correctly. That's all I'm saying.
For one, you're right. There's three things I've been waiting for. One, Game of Thrones new season coming out.
Amen.
2, Infinity War Endgame with
Amen.
the Avengers. And 3, the New York Knicks to turn it around. So trust me, you're speaking to the choir here, Max.
Well, we know for sure the first 2 things are happening, though. That's locked in.
You're right. The Knicks I'm 34. It could be 62 by the time it could be my son Dylan could be the future of the Knicks. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, Lord. But what great NBA talk, guys. Dave, do you have any last couple things that stuck out to you in the NBA?
No, I love the All-Star, not the All-Star. Oh, yeah, no, that's what I want to talk about was the All-Star. I love the Christmas games. They were just fun. There's nothing like watching the NBA on Christmas. My last little tidbit about the NBA, which I don't want to lock anyone else out right now. I'm trying to relax. I feel like I've been a little bit up on this podcast. Right now, Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose would be all-star starters because of votes. Max, didn't we learn about voting in this country and what could happen if you don't vote correctly? Are you kidding me? Derrick Rose and Dwayne Wade, Max, talk me off of a ledge right now. I'm correct to be upset about this, right?
Yes, I understand what their purpose is. I'm not justifying it. Derrick Rose, as everyone knows, a multitude of injuries, tearing his ACL, both ACLs, then there's this, then there's that, then there's this, then he gets traded, then he goes here. So it's almost like a heroic story that he's still able to play on the court and play at the level he's playing at. So I think it's more of a sympathy and recognizing his trials and tribulations that he's gone through and overcame, and now it's almost like symbolism. He's still on the court, and he has heart, he has grit, and he's still balling. But no, he's not an all-star. And then with Dwayne Wade, I think it's more of the same thing. He's a Hall of Famer, top 5 shooting guard of all time. He's an all-time great. He's a Miami Heat. This is his last season. Kobe went on tour. This is almost Dwayne Wade's version, trading the jerseys. So it's like, I just want to see him one more time in the All-Star game. That's what it is. Now, he's not an All-Star either. So based on credentials, based on level of play, based on all the other All-Stars, they're not All-Stars. But that's why they're receiving votes.
Oh, my gosh. It's driving me crazy. But you know one thing that won't drive me crazy, Max? February 9th, Orlando Live Event Center, Clash of the Titans 3. You and I will be in the building. This is where boxing meets MMA. And, of course, if you want any MMA news, go to fightbananas.com.
That's a great plug right there. Fightbananas.com. Yeah, Dave, you and I will be in the building. I want Dave to get in the ring. I don't know what we have to do to get you in there, but you got to get in there soon.
I'm begging for a fight, cousin. I'm begging for the fight.
One last thing. I'm sorry, before we transition to the NFL, I just want to say this. I have a sincere apology to Kyle Kuzma. I knew I predicted the Lakers locked in would beat the Warriors on Christmas Day. I just think it meant more to the Lakers with their young roster than it did to the Warriors. So I knew they were going to come out and play. This is like a tryout for LeBron James. It's like, oh my God, this is the biggest stage we've ever been on. We've never been to the playoffs. So to them, this is the version of the playoffs. We have to show that we are ready for this level, and they did. Even when LeBron left the game, they held up that level of play thanks to Rondo and McGee and Kuzma. So going into the season, both you and I thought Ingram would be an all-star this year. We went from, 7 points to 16 points, and we're like, okay, he can make that jump to 20 points, 19 to 21 points, and he hasn't. And we're like, well, Kuzma's played more years in college, so of course he's more developed. I don't know if his ceiling is as high as Brandon Ingram. Guys, not only does Kuzma have dog in him, he is the clear number 2 locked-in player on the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron knows it. Magic sees it. We can disagree about Lonzo. We can disagree about Josh Hart. We may even disagree about the Lakers, but there is no disagreeing here, I don't think. Right, Dave? Kyle Kuzma is the clear number 2 for the Lakers.
100%. And I would be as strong to say I love Anthony Davis. He's a way better player than Kyle Kuzma. But I would not trade Kuzma in any package for Anthony Davis.
Agree.
You have to keep him.
Agree.
You have to. He's a perfect Scottie Pippen to LeBron, to Jordan. He's just perfect for him. You need to get Anthony Davis without trading Kuzma, or you just wait in free agency. You hold it out. Maybe Klay Thompson comes. You maybe wait 2 years, Bradley Beal, or maybe you wait 2 years and Anthony Davis just walks over to the team. You don't have to give up anybody. Imagine Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Brandon Ingram, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis. And I know it would be hard for a Laker fan to say, wow, 2 seasons But give 2 more seasons. Golden State to me would be totally done. And I know that's 2 more years on LeBron, but Kuzma will be exactly in his prime. Anthony Davis would be a top 3 player in the world. I think that might be the route to go. I would hate to gut the team, but I agree with you. I know we're going long. You got to keep Kyle Kuzma.
And I agree. I think you should go for Anthony Davis, but not trade Kyle Kuzma because, like you said, LeBron in year 18, he'll still be great, but I want him now with LeBron to win a championship. But let's transition to the NFL, Dave. This is one of the best wild card games we've ever seen. And we've thrown out our picks out there on social media, locked in with 2 N's, David Van Auken, Max Van Auken. Let's go Chargers, Ravens. Who do you have? And then I'll bounce off.
Okay. Before the season, our locked-in picks, I had the Chargers winning the whole AFC. So, of course, I got to keep on going with it. I'm not backing off. My one caveat would say I do not like how the Chargers, a West Coast team, is playing in Baltimore at 1 p.m. on Sunday. It's just one of those things out of all 4 time slots. That's the worst spot for the Chargers to play in. But, hey, it's a football game, 60 minutes. You got to play it. I do have the Chargers winning 21-20.
They're a good road team, though. They are a very good road team. And with Baltimore, it's weird because Lamar Jackson's having success, but he's very unpredictable. And you want to know, can he sustain this level of play, especially after playing the Chargers already once? I'm going with the Chargers as well. You were locked in. The Chargers, I have more faith in their overall roster than I do with Lamar Jackson's level of play. And that's no disrespect to Lamar because he's becoming a great player in this league. He has a good streak going on right now, but I have more faith in the Chargers than I do in just one player for the Ravens with a legitimate defense, but I'm going with the Chargers as well. And now we have the Seahawks and the Cowboys.
Okay, I went first last time. Cuzzo, you go first this time.
Okay, the Cowboys at home. Now, Russell Wilson is a far better quarterback than Dak Prescott. I don't think you or I disagree with that one for sure. So
Agreed.
With Dak Prescott being limited, even though he shows up in bigger games, at home with a good defense, with Ezekiel Elliott, and I think this, for Dak Prescott, is his Super Bowl. I really do. I think this is, hey, if I win, I want a big contract. This is me showing you I can win in this league, and I deserve the money. If he loses that leverage. So for all that being said, the Cowboys at home, I'm going with Dallas.
Cuzzo, you say a lot of smart things in the world. I'm using your Los Angeles Laker Christmas Day analogy.
Ooh.
It just means more to the Cowboys this game.
Yes.
They're younger. For a lot of it, it's their first playoff game. It's Dak's home game. Like, it's a contract on the rise. It means more. A lot of these players for the Seahawks have won a championship. Russell and Pete Carroll's been here before. And this was supposed to be a rebuilding 6-10, 8-8 year. They overachieved. They're like, in a way, they already won. They got to the postseason. And, hey, Russell Wilson could do it. He's that great of a player. But I'm stealing your analogy. This game means more to the Cowboys. They got to win 27-20. Cowboys win.
There we go. And now we have the Colts and the Texans. Andrew Luck versus my guy, Deshaun Watson. Who do you have?
Gosh, this is like our quarterback game heaven.
Mm-hmm.
We're both Andrew Luck guys, but I'm an Andrew Luck sycophant. I love this man. He could father my kids if something happens to me. I love this guy that much. You're a Deshaun Watson guy, which I'm starting to fall in love with him as well. He has all the intangibles that I would want in a quarterback. Deshaun Watson, if he stays healthy, Hall of Fame career. What a great player. Great teams in the same division. They played twice. The Colts are probably the hottest team in the league. But no, I'm shocking everyone. I'm picking the Texans. They're at home. Deshaun Watson's a winner. He won in Clemson. He's going to win here in Houston. J.J. Watt's back. DeAndre Hopkins does not drop a ball. I have the Texans kind of right now in a weird way upsetting the Colts.
That's a good take, Dave. It's a good take.
Thank you, sir.
I don't like
Thank
going
you.
against Deshaun Watson. I really, really don't, but I'm going with Andrew Luck and this streak that they're on. I really am. I think Andrew Luck does it. And I think, like you said, a couple teams surprised us, a couple teams, like for good and bad this season. Obviously, John Gruden surprised us, maybe not surprised others, but it's like, wow, we didn't think he was going to be that bad this year. May not have a great season, but it was bad. Andrew Luck, they're way ahead of schedule. Like you said, one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. I'm going with Andrew Luck.
Good pick. That's a good pick. I can't fault you. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the world on fire. It's a pretty good pick. All right, the last game, NFL wild card weekend, the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champions, with their Super Bowl quarterback back on the field, Nick Foles, versus the Chicago Bears, maybe the breakthrough team of the season. They won the NFC North. They're in Chicago. Max, take this one away. You got Philly or Chicago?
You don't even have to say they're the Super Bowl champs. All the parading and celebration they did. I don't need. You don't even have to say that. Like before, you could say, "Oh, Super Bowl champs." It's like no, it's implied. We all know they won a Super Bowl. They won a Super Bowl. But that being said, Nick Foles is just weird in a positive way. He's just unpredictable. He's on a streak. He's crazy. And I've heard a couple people say they upset the Bears. And I don't think you're crazy for saying that. But all that being said, I put my faith in what I believe more in and what just comes naturally to me, and I have more faith in Chicago. I think with Khalil Mack obviously making this a legitimate, the best defense in the league with Matt Nagy and Mitchell Trubisky, who I wasn't high on. I thought Deshaun Watson should have went above him, but he's obviously clicking with Nagy. I think Chicago has enough to withstand the Eagles and maybe Nick Foles' little streaks because of that defense. It's able to level out a little bit. And Mitchell Trubisky's not the best quarterback in the league. That's not what I'm saying, but I think he has enough to win this game with that great defense that he has. So I'm going with the Chicago Bears.
Sometimes in life, Max, you just don't need to overthink anything.
Yeah.
If it has Captain America and Iron Man in it, it's going to be a great movie.
Very true.
If it's got Will Ferrell in it, I'm going to laugh. The Chicago Bears playoff game at home at night versus a backup quarterback, the best defense in the league. This is not overthinking, guys. The Chicago Bears will win this game. And I think this is the ugly game of the weekend. Chicago wins 27-6, 27-3. I really think they squash them. Chicago Bears win this football game.
What an episode, ladies and gentlemen. Locked in with two N's on any podcast platform. Please download and subscribe. We want to hear from you. Leave a comment. Rate us 5 stars. Get Dave Dunkin' Donuts. If this is your first time listening, we cover MMA also on FightBananas.com. We cover NBA, clearly, NFL, and Dave. We talk about a lot of Marvel movies and a couple DC movies here and there.
Oh, DC Aquaman was amazing.
It was.
Go
it really
see that,
was.
folks.
What did you think of Bird Box, by the way? Have you seen that?
I have not, and I'm going to do one of those things because everyone's seeing it. I'm probably going to skip it.
Wow.
I have been on a movie run, though. Aquaman, Creed 2,
Bumblebee.
Robin Hood. We saw Bumblebee, and then we saw Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Universe with my son. One of the greatest Spider-Man movies of all time. The soundtrack's amazing. It's just really cool, original, good news story. Definitely, I've given my 2 thumbs up to the new Spider-Man movie.
Well, I got to check that one out, but you should check out Bird Box. I don't think it's what all the hype is, but it's worth watching. The way the social media made it, they made it a 10 out of 10. It's not a 10 out of 10, but it's worth a watch. It's worth a watch. Like, don't go in there thinking this is going to change my life. Oh my God, this is amazing. If you go in there just a regular movie, then you'll like it.
Is it a 7?
Yeah, it's a 7, 8.
Okay. Oh, 7. If it's an 8, I'll definitely see it. Spider-Man was a 9, Aquaman 9, Bumblebee 7.5.
I'm right on there. I'm right with there. I think that's actually perfect. Instead of Rotten Tomatoes, it's the locked-in ratings. How about that?
Oh my gosh! Let's talk about it for another hour.
But anyway, Dave,
man.
The pleasure
Don't
is
drink
mine.
and drive, guys. All right, stay safe out there.
All right, and like always, stay locked
in.